To mark the attendance?
Later on, yes, I will mark the attendance later. Okay. So we shall start now. Can we? Okay. Yesterday we ended up with a CLT, right? Now CLT is actually very essential because not like the other theories of learning, we are actually going to focus on the process. No. Now, if you're going to apply the cognitivism and the CLT in the classroom, you will always be looking into inquiry-oriented projects. That means to say, let the students come out with their own conclusions based on the guidelines, and the questions that you provide them. So that is actually the very purpose of cognitivism. It will lead to discovery method, and at the same time, let's say, group works and group discussions leading to the formulation of ideas coming from a group of students. No? Now, cognitivism also will allow students to formulate their own hypothesis. So that means to say we are a little bit liberal in this case. We allow the students to think, we allow the students to process information, we allow students to share. In that way, by means of sharing, by means of hypothesizing, by means of looking into questions, by looking into the process, the students will be able to come out with their own ideas. And this is actually very good. So teachers will facilitate. Teachers will just be there as a scaffold. Manju, yeah, I have got a class. Yeah, anything. Uh, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so sorry, Dr. Manju actually called me. So that's stage scaffolding. The teacher will just actually be there to facilitate. So he will facilitate the activities that would have happened in the classroom. So in this case, as initially discussed earlier, the teachers will not be the holder of knowledge any longer. You see, he will allow the time tradition, the tested and timely tradition of allowing the students to think. This is actually utilizing also dialectic method by Aristotle, if you could recall, no, the philosophy of education. Now, of course, cognitivism is not perfect. Cognitivism arises just because of behaviorism. Remember that, no? So cognitivism may not be perfect all the time because, like behaviorism, knowledge itself is given and absolute in that way. So the teacher, although actually has in mind already what could be the possible answers to the students, still the teachers would be letting the students think and then compare the answers that he is holding. Now, the process here in cognitivism also is like computer. So there is an input, there is a process, and there is output. So we teach the students how to process information, and we are expecting them to come out with the information or ideas as compared to the one that we actually are holding. So it does not account also enough for individuality. We will not be looking into individuality. Remember, in the classroom, there are so many students who are actually different from one another, very unique from one another. This is actually one thing. No, like like behaviorism, your cognitivism lacks the recognition of individuality. So what will happen is that always in group works, always in social learning theory, also always the weak will be left behind. It will be to the advantage of those who are actually strong and intelligent, but those who are actually weak will be left behind. That is actually the problem here. No, it has also little emphasis on affective characteristics. Sometimes we do not look at into emotional development of the child or of the student. We are going to look into the mode of the student. As long as we are actually coming out with the output, that's it. So individuality, and at the same time, emotional aspects of the child or the person could not always be considered. That is the limitation. Now, I keep on telling the students that in order to teach effectively, we must always adapt different approaches. We must always adapt various theory in order to meet the needs of every individual students in the classroom. Remember, I would like you to focus on this. We are not going to be looking into students as if they are numbers only. You see, in the classroom of 80, it's very difficult to look at individuality, but it's better to look and understand every behavior and understand every single group member of the class, no? So that we will emphasize here individuality. The approach must always be like that, no? Teachers must always recognize the strong point, the weak point, the capacity, and also the progress of every individual in in the classroom. Yes. Moving forward, no? Let's proceed now in understanding social learning theory, as I mentioned to you earlier. This is an object of cognitivism. This time, we are looking for the output, but at the same time, it is actually going to look into group output. No, it grew out of cognitivism. The leading psychologist and educationist in this regard is Albert Bandura. The SLT was formulated in 1973. According to Albert Bandura, learning takes place through observation and sensorial experiences. Now, the basic emphasis here is more on um, experiential learning. Students will learn to observe, then at the same time, students will acquire knowledge by mere observation. This is what we are actually doing in our clinical experiences. We will be going to the ward, we will be going to the hospital to observe, to deduce, and to learn from our patients in the ward. That is actually the basic idea that we have here. Now, another emphasis in social learning theory is that the teacher will play a very important role in motivating the students, no? Particularly if the teacher is actually good, the students will basically will like them, will imitate them by all means, the way they speak, the way they act, the way they teach, the way they handle everything. So the basic idea of imitation is emphasized here, no? And of course, we know for a fact that imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. In social psychology, as I keep on telling the student, sometimes we are being influenced by people because we admire them. So therefore, the qualities of teachers must be admirable so that we can influence our students. Now look at the way we dress right now. We are being influenced by somebody else. Maybe an actress, maybe an actor that we see in a movie or in a television commercials. So when they demonstrate something, when they show something, we tend to buy them. It also happens in the classroom. All right. Now, moving forward, now SLT is the basis on the movement against violence in media and video games. This is actually the thing that we emphasize. The reason why we need to limit people from doing games or playing games, particularly violent game, is in accordance with social learning theory. According to Albert Bandura and other social psychologists and social learning theorists, um, if students or pupils will continuously play violent games, the tendency is that they would also utilize that. They would also adopt the violence in their lifestyle, in their life, and in their actions that will influence greatly their behaviors. So the tendency is that children would be violent also. Likewise, when there are violence, sexual connotations in televisions, so students may be also influenced. All this control, all these regulations were actually formulated based on this concept coming from social psychology and at the same time coming from social learning theory. Okay, so moving forward, no. Now, basically, this is what you're going to do in SLT. You demonstrate, students follow. Like for instance, no, when you are trying to learn baseball, softball, baseball, or any ball games that you know of, basically you don't have any idea about that, or maybe golf, no, you don't have any idea about the game. You do not have any idea about positions. You do not have any idea about how and what to do. So basically, the teacher here is just going to teach or demonstrate how to play. Like in pitching, baseball, you have seen the picture there. So you are going to demonstrate how to pitch. Then the student will actually follow. Then redemonstrate. Then after that, they will be on their own. Just like what we are doing in the skills laboratory, when we are learning how to demonstrate one specific, let's say, procedure, when we do not know the procedure, we tend to look into the model. Who is the model? The one who is demonstrating. So basically, we copy them. Once that we copy them, we acquire the skill, then we demonstrate that. The acquisition of skill is by copying, is by observation. So that is actually the basic influence in social learning theory. This is very useful to student nurses and to professional nurses, particularly those who are actually specializing, because they copy, then after that they apply in their practice. That's basically what we do. That's basically what we assess when you are actually doing your OSCE. No? Remember in your OSCE, you really demonstrate a specific skill. That skill must be in accordance with what to learn and what to observe. So they are going to grade you in accordance with the steps. The steps were demonstrated by your teachers. So you have to copy the way they did it so that you could actually get a good score, a perfect score maybe. That's how we have in your social learning theory. Okay, now social learning theory emphasizes learning from models. This is what I mentioned to you earlier, like in the case of Albert Bandura. So in Albert Bandura, this is how you're going to learn from the models. No, number one, let's say demonstration of the skill in the classroom. When you're going to teach your patient, like for instance, the patient has a take-home medicine, or if you are having a patient who has diabetes, diagnosed for the first time, and the patient will be required to inject in once in a while insulin. So the basic thing that you're going to do is to teach the patient how to inject themselves. There are so many things that you can actually teach: injection, site, aseptic technique, and so on. So basically, there is a process according to Albert and Madura. The first process would be to attend pertinent clues. Demonstrate, then the patient will always look into the clues. After that, number two, these clues, once that you demonstrate, you are going to memorize using codes. So remember that we have to code, no? Then in order to store that in our memory, we have to make it a code. We have to prepare a symbol to symbolize that. That's how we are actually generating knowledge, no? It's coding of all the essential steps, no? Most probably others are very good in memorizing because they can easily code and they can easily store visualization, no? Visualize the codes so that they can easily access that, no, in their memory. After coding from memory, number three is that you are going to retain that in your memory. How are you going to retain? This is one way, no, that you are going to look. There are so many people who are actually looking into redemonstration and redemonstration and redemonstration in order to. That means to say you are going to do it many times over and over again in order to let it retain in the memory. Now, there is a principle that if you're going to use or if you're going to practice all the time, most of the time, you can actually become an expert into it. If you keep on repeating, it becomes a habit. Once that it becomes a habit, it will be a part of your behavior. It will be a part of your skills. So basically, all the information will be retained in the memory. That's how it operates. Practicing will make everything perfect. So this is actually the challenge in SLT. The moment that you are going to demonstrate something, make it sure that who are you teaching or what you are going to teach with your student must always be practiced by them, right? Moving forward, no, in social learning theory, you will accurately reproduce the observed activity. So that's the reason why you ask the students to demonstrate. Now, in case of your patient, as I mentioned earlier, let's say you're going to teach your patient how to inject themselves. Eventually, when they go home, so immediately injecting themselves. Insulin will not require any help coming from the nurse if they are at home, because it will be time consuming for the patient if they will come to the hospital, no? So they can actually do that at home. So you have to teach them. Now you are going to ask them to redemonstrate. The first thing maybe that you are going to ask them to identify the site. Then later on, you have to ask them to do the preparation. Then lastly, of course, in preparation, including all the principles of a safety technique, no? Then of course, giving the injection or the injection process. So you are going to ask the patient to repeat over and over again until such time that it will become perfect. The moment when you go home, the moment they are going to do that, it will be a process. They will not actually suffer difficulty anymore because they know what to do and they know how to do it. That is the meaning of Albert Bandura's learning from model number 4 step. No? Accurately reproduce the observed activity. In short, you return demonstrate. Lastly, after successfully demonstrating the procedure or the skill or any knowledge for that matter, you already or the patient or the student will possess sufficient motivation to apply that new learning. So in short, they may improve what they learn. So you observe this, no? When we teach you specific skill, sometimes you discover new way on how to improve. This is how we always ask the students to improve themselves. We do not want our students to copy us all the time 100%. We allow our students to make it sure that they learn from us, they learn the basic principles, and also if there is a need to, let's say, modify what we taught them, it will be okay. But chances are, most of the time, if the teacher is actually really good, then the students will actually follow them. That is what we have in social learning theory. So basically, when you also became a nurse for the first time, when you did your nursing duty, your professional duty as a nurse on your first day, basically you did not know what to do. So you would have been thinking about a specific model in order to do it. Like me, no? When I taught, it's very difficult because I did not know how to teach. So basically, I have to recall the model, the basic model that my teacher was at the model that I admire, the teacher that I admire so much. And I copied everything, the way he speaks, the way he acts, the way he moves. So I copied my teacher. So that the particular movement, that particular skill I learned from my teacher, I still adapt it today, although there are some sort of modification. To copying, imitations are the key in social learning theory. You see? So you do that all the time in your learning. Now, research would indicate that the following factors will influence the strength of learning from models. Now, we have to be very careful about this. That's the reason why, if you are going to become a teacher, it will require a highest standard. No? That's why in United Arab Emirates, before you are going to teach, they are actually conducting investigation first. You have to pass through CID check. You see? Because it's very important, no? that teachers are really role models. That means to say they are contributor in the society. Maybe let's say they are really good models. They are really good citizens. They are really good people. No, because it influences a lot of students, particularly when they're teaching less and less of students. Number one, now a model should be very good, no? Because they are very powerful. Take note of this. Based from research, these are the following influences of learning by the models. How much power the model seems to have. If the teacher is admirable and if the teacher is modeling, then students will actually acquire information from them. It will actually give information to them, right? There are so many people actually who taught students how to be bad. You know, like for instance, those people who are influencing teach students to bomb, they actually are exerting so much power. You see, you can manipulate every behavior of the student. That's the reason why you should be good. If you are bad, you are going to make a student bad. If you are good, you are going to certainly make the students good. That's the thing, no? So going forward, no? How capable the model seems to be, teachers must always know what they are going to teach. You cannot teach when you do not know what to teach. You cannot teach when you do not know how to teach. You cannot teach when you yourself do not know how to handle what you are going to teach. In short, you are well prepared. See? So that the teacher, the student will be able to observe you. So that you can exude confidence. And the students will look at it. The students will detect it. The student will see it. So therefore, you can actually command respect if you're going to do that. Imagine a teacher who is very capable, a teacher who is always prepared. So what do you think will be done by the student? So the student will always reflect that this teacher is capable. So they are being influenced by the mere fact that the teacher would have displayed skill, knowledge, almost holistic, no, in everything. So the student will admire the teacher. The student will actually look upon the teacher because the teachers are always capable. That's number two. Number one, the teachers are very powerful that they can always influence, make or break the student. Number two, the teacher must always display skill, capacity to teach so that the students will actually admire them, so that the student will actually learn from them. So they model properly how to become good and well-prepared teacher. Number three, this is very essential also. How nurturing or caring are you? The model, no? You should be genuinely concerned on how the students will learn. Do not just actually teach, then give the examination. It will not be like that. Make it sure that the students will actually learn. That's how. So you always display genuine concern on how the students must actually learn. Now, when you're going to teach your patient, you should genuinely teach your patient so that the patient will actually learn from you. If you're always in a hurry, as if the next job to be done is more important than the job or the teaching job or the health education job, then the patient will not actually learn from you. You see, they will not even respect you. As I said, I have observed so many nurses who are teaching the patient only for about 3 to 5 minutes maximum. They cannot learn anything. Patients will not learn anything sometimes. They will forget. You see?
They
So,
have to also
yeah,
for the possible question they will ask. I have to be ready for their possible questions so they can
yes.
trust.
Go on, go on.
No, I mean relevant questions that yeah
Mhm.
about sometime about the disease he's having. I will be knowing that there will be some questions relevant to the disease, so I can answer them. So I have to
Yeah,
be for their questions so they can trust me.
very good. That's basically the point. A teacher must be ready. The teacher must know what he or she is going to teach. Therefore, it's your responsibility to prepare. So when you teach your patient, as you mentioned, you're Fatma, right?
Iman.
Iman, I'm not actually having the screen here, so that's why, you know. So when you are going to teach, make it sure that you are ready. As I keep on telling my student, you see, you cannot teach what you do not know. So it's our responsibility to learn. That's why when we go to the ward, at least we read something, we know something. Not only the procedure, but the disease process. That's the reason why we have been retained in the ward for quite some time, because it is known fact that we should know the disease is there. So that when we teach the patient, we are skillful, we are knowledgeable about the disease process, so that we have something to share. So student, the teacher, the patient will actually respect us in that way. Remember, you exert so much power and influence on people, particularly on your patient. If the patient does not know anything, then you're more powerful. You see, most of the time, they're going to look at you as a role model. The way you demonstrate that to them is the way that they're going to do it at home. Injection. Imagine this. You tell the patient that they're going to take the medicine at 5 o'clock. I'm going to tell you, they are going to take the medicine exactly at 5 o'clock. That's how they behave, because they are going to follow your instruction. They're always thinking that you know better, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock, so they are going to look at the time, even exact time. 5, I should take this medicine. You see? So they are ready, they're getting this, simple tablet or simple capsule. When you say what time it is, they're going to follow it. If you know, you see, if you're really capable of teaching the patient properly, so they will look upon you. That's the basic point of modeling. That's very important in social learning theory. You influence a lot of your students. You influence a lot of your patient. Okay? Moving forward. Now, look at this. The student will connect to you. The patient will connect to you. They are going to look at your similarity. You see? So, I am like my teacher. Therefore, I am good. So they will look at this that way. Now, how similar the learner perceives self and model. They will always find the similarity, so that they are very proud of their teacher. Therefore, they will associate themselves with their teacher. They will always look into the similarity. You see? Just like I am like my teacher. I am a teacher. I should be acting like him. I think like him. I behave like him. I feel like him. I act like him. That is how important you are to that student. You see how similar the learner perceives self and model. They will look into the connection between you and them. Okay, that's how powerful you are. And basically, your student will imitate you. Your student will copy you. So you have a very powerful influence. That's the reason why, you see, if you are going to be in teaching profession, you will be very proud. You will be very happy. I'm telling you, you see, when we teach here, we don't care about money. We look into the fulfillment, because we'll see that students are learning from us. That's a good motivation enough for us to be in teaching profession. That's the thing. When you see students imitating us, copying us, we're very happy. See, we are very fulfilled. That's how fulfilling it is, no? Okay. How many models the learner will observe? They will compare. Not all teachers are good, honestly. I am telling you honest to goodness. Like, not all nurses are good. Basically, by right, nurses must be good all the time, but there are always bad days. Student teachers also must be good all the time, but there are always bad days that the teachers are not capable, that the teachers are not ready. In the hospital also, the nurses are not ready. You see, I've encountered so many nurses. They bring their problems from home to the hospital. So when you go to the hospital, they cannot work. That's bad enough, no? When they teach, they spend only 3 minutes. That's bad enough. Everything is transactional. That means to say they are only going to do what they are asked to do, not they are supposed to do because they need to do it because these are the things that are supposed to be done. That should be the case. But the thing is, sometimes it happens to us, to me, to everyone. I'm not an exception, you know. Sometimes you don't feel like teaching. Sometimes you don't feel like going to the hospital. So when you go to the hospital, you're dragging your feet, isn't it? Now, my basic point is that here is that the student will look at the several models. Like you are looking at your teachers right now, and basically you compare them. You pick out from among them who will be serving as your models. And you copy them because you cannot copy all the time 100% all the teachers who are actually teaching you. Basically, there is one point that will stand out, and that will be the one that you are going to copy. And it's flattering if you imitate them. That's the basic influence of social psychology to learning. That's why we call it social learning theory. How much influence the teacher will influence the student. So basically, that is actually the point. So as a teacher, you should know what to do and how to deal with the students properly. Any questions so far?
Thank you.
Yeah, moving forward, no? In social learning theory, there are four interrelated processes that are established to strengthen the identification with the model. You see, you have to identify with the teacher, right? Sometimes, when I was teaching students in the psychiatric ward, I always say this: expect that your patient will own you. Likewise, a student in the classroom will own you. You see? They're always looking after you. They're looking up on you. They are always identifying with you. Okay? So these are the steps, no? Children want to be like the model. So they copy it every step of the way. If you're going to look at your children, you see, they play like as if they are teachers. And when you're going to ask them whom you are modeling, they will name the name of the teacher, isn't it? We have kids already who are school bound. Sometimes when they play like as if they are teachers. They're role playing, isn't it? There are some children like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I am a teacher, so they teach. And then you see they are modeling. If you they sometimes they are holding stick because their teacher was holding stick in the classroom. Sometimes they are a little bit strict, no? Because they see as that there are teachers becoming strict also. You see? So they copy their teachers. Therefore, here, children want to be like the model. Students want to be like the model. Patients would like to be their nurses. You see? So basically, that's one. Number two, children will believe that they are like the model. Since they associated themselves with the model, in this case, the teacher, then they believe that they are similar with the model because they found similarities, no? Jives. Their personality jive means to say similar, clicks together. That's actually the main point here, no? And then children experience emotions like those the model is actually feeling, as I mentioned to you. When they are playing, you can actually see the evidence of this when they play at home. As if when they play like a teacher, when they are strict, they are always trying to get mad also. It's there. They will recognize also it's there. No? So they will see, they will display that emotion. It's very relevant. I observe so many children playing like that. No? So they experience emotions of the models. They copy the emotions of the models. In this case, the teachers. And they act like the models, no? Maybe the way they act, the way they act, the way they move their hands, the way they move around the classroom, the way they ask questions, the way they interact with students, the way they deal with the students. So that's how they learn. That's how they copy. As I mentioned to you, imitation is a very form of flattery that is very relevant in social learning theory. The job of the teacher, if he is going to use this theory and apply this in the classroom, is to influence. You're very influential to the students. As I'm telling you, you can break or make the students. You can actually you are very powerful driving force for the students to succeed or not to succeed. It depends on how you're going to handle them. They copy, all right? They copy you initially, no? Now take note of this. Through identification, children come to believe that they have the same characteristics as on the model, and actually display that in their lifetime. They display that in their lifetime. That's the reason why as of now, I'm actually going to tell you, your next assignment will be like that. You see, I'm going to teach you the next assignment next semester. It will be easier. Uh, there are teachers that you remember. Your teachers in elementary, your teachers in high school, maybe in college, who influenced you so much. I would like you to write about them next semester. You see? So you identify with them. You could recall even their names. You could recall even how they influence you. You could recall also how you copied them. You copied their movements, the way they speak, the way they talk. And that's why you see, nurses can be forgotten. Once that you're going to serve your patients for a while, they go home, maybe they remember you for 1 week or for 1 month. But after that, they will not even remember you. But for teachers, no matter what, especially the teachers who made a mark in the life of the students, they will remember you forever. So that's actually uh, one of the motivations that we stay here as teachers. No, our students will always remember us, no matter what, bad time or good time. No, so when they identify with a nurturant and competent model, children will feel pleased and very proud. No, especially when they were acting like as if they are the successful and very good teachers. So of course, they will be very proud and happy about it. No. Now, when they identify with an inadequate model, this is actually the problem. No, when they identify with an inadequate model, they will not be very happy about it. By all means, how could you be very happy? No. So basically, they're not going to pick you up as a role model, because in social psychology, you imitate only what is good and you discard what is bad. That's the rule. No. All right, moving forward. Now, application of social learning theory in the classroom. Always, SLT is using collaborative works. Co-labor. Collaborative comes from two words, co and labor. That means together, you work together. That's why when you apply this in education in the classroom, students will work together in order to learn. That's why we call it group work. No? We are going to look into the problem together. We learn together. We co-labor. We work together. We collaborate. Yeah. So, but it's sad to say, sometimes when we actually adapt this, no, group learning, there are so many students who are giving up from the beginning. No, they have not started yet. They are giving up already. You see. When we grow up as students, they approach us immediately, say, "Sir, I cannot work with this student." So they are not team player, you see. The emphasis is that we, no matter what, no matter how the students in every group will actually work, we must work with them. That's the emphasis here. That means to say we have to adjust with every member of the group. You are there in the group in order to learn, not to be number one, but to be one with the group members. So that is the emphasis in collaborative working. So immediately when the teacher will assign you, just keep quiet, no? You know why? Because there's no point. Sometimes you select the members. I know that I've been teaching here for quite some time. In other universities also, I've been teaching there for quite some time. No? They dictate on who are the members of the group because they're always thinking about their own without considering on how the others actually will learn. I'm not criticizing you, but this is the reality. So there are so many people who are actually coming to us and asking them to be reassigned to another group because of this. Now, if you are really a team player, you will always adapt, no matter what. So it does not matter. That means to say, the thing that will actually matter most will be your contribution to the group, contribution to learning process. No? That's how. Modeling responses and expectations is another. Okay? And of course, this one, no? Opportunities to observe experts in action. Now, when you are going to conduct group works, collaborative works, sometimes there are people who are actually coming to demonstrate. There are people who are modeling. They are actually experts. So basically, you are going to work with them. Let's say, for instance, in the world, no, there will be new equipment that will be delivered, and no one knows about how to use it. So what are they going to do? They have to demonstrate. Definitely, the one who is going to demonstrate is well-versed, is an expert. So if you're going to learn, you are going to work together, you are going to question so that you are going to associate yourselves with the expert. They demonstrate, you learn. You see, you learn. See? Learning by observation, learning by joining the group, learning together with the group. That's the emphasis here. Learning by touching, learning by looking at it. So that's the emphasis here. All right? Of course, this is not perfect, no? There are always criticism. Why? Let's say number one, no? We are not going to take into account individuality. That's the problem with social learning theory, no? So always an individual student is a part of the group. Individuality is not looked at. I'm telling you, that's the reason why it's better for us to combine different theories of education rather than only adapt one. No? Because basically in the classroom there are different types of people, there are different learners, and there are different they learn differently, they learn in different ways. One theory may not be applicable to another. So most of the time we are going to see to it that we cater on the need of the slow and on the need of the fast learners. If there are people who are very slow learners, there are people who are actually fast learners. There are people who like lecture and there are people who do not like lecture. So you have to adapt, no? So that's one of the problems with SLT. We don't look at the individual student, but we look the student as a member of the group. We are always looking into the group, no? We do not account also context and experience as the experience also will be mediating factors, no? The SLT suggests students learn best as passive receivers of sensory stimuli as opposed to being active learners, no? You demonstrate the copy. That's actually the main point. Okay? Sometimes they are not authorized to make some innovations, no? Especially in nursing, it's difficult. No, what we demonstrate must always be redemonstrated. You are not allowed even your process is better. No, emotions and motivations are not considered important or connected to learning. That is the main point. No, so we are going to look at the process, but not looking into the emotions, emotional aspect of every individual member of the group. That's the limitations that we we have in social learning theory. We believe in a theory of group learning, but not individual learning. That's the point in SLT. All right. Moving forward in social constructivism, an object of social learning theory. No, this grew out of and in response to cognitivism. Cognitivism also emphasizes the process of formulating the ideas and thinking and intelligence. No, this is actually playing on metacognition. That is creating an idea out of the activity that you could actually have. You are thinking beyond what is expected of you. That's the meaning of metacognition. No, knowledge is actively constructed. This is actually one very good thing here. It's basically an offshoot of dialectic method, right? Where knowledge is created. Knowledge must always be coming from the teacher and the student. Altogether, the two will collaborate and the two will come out with knowledge, agreed upon knowledge. By the way, if you are going to look at the knowledge that we are actually using right now, these are all constructs that we believe. You see? We believe on them, so therefore it becomes a part of us. All right? So you agree with the idea, so therefore you believe about the idea and you apply that idea. In a similar way, in the creation of knowledge, teacher proposed something, student proposed something, then you discuss, you come out with an idea, then that particular idea will become a part of knowledge because you agree on it. As I told you earlier, the concept of money. No? Why is it that paper money is important? Because we agree on the value of money. If we do not agree on the value of money, then it will just actually be a piece of paper. But since we always recognize the fact that our agreement actually stays and larger population stays in agreement with us, therefore we adapt that money is valuable because we agree on it. But there will be a point when we agree, when the Philippines was attacked by Japan, the money that they brought is devalued. Our money is devalued. So it becomes a Mickey Mouse. In Zambia also, if you're going to look at in Zambia and Zimbabwe, no, look at the money is devalued, no. You just buy one bottle of water, and it will cost you 1 million. See? So there is devaluation because you agree on the value, you agree on the fact, you agree on the idea, so that this idea will become knowledge. That's how we come out with knowledge in this case. We agree on something. You create knowledge. That's the meaning of social constructivism. In social constructivism, learning is a search for meaning by the learner. As long as the learner learns something, find meaning in what is actually being learned by them, then there is education. No? Learning must always be contextualized in the context of students. No? Learning also is an inherently social activity because it involves two people, two sides, teachers and the students. There is interaction so that you can actually come up with mutual idea that you believe in. As I tell you, no, I'm always telling my students in order to be successful and be meaningful in what you're going to do as a student, do not agree all the time with your teachers. You have to ask questions. You see? So that the teacher will always come up with a solution to your disagreement. So if that is the case, then you are creating new knowledge. No? It's actually very powerful if you disagree with your teachers. You agree to disagree. You come out with a debate and you come out with a specific idea that you hold on as the truth. That is basically the main point in social constructivism. No? Learning is a dialogic and recursive. It's a dialogue, like in Aristotle, no? It could actually be a dyad, no? A relationship between you and the teacher. And there is this discourse, no? And the responsibility of learning is actually from the learner. You see? Remember, in behaviorism, we learned that the responsibility of learning not rests entirely on the student. Because in behaviorism, it is believed that the teachers hold the knowledge and the students hold nothing. They just receive the knowledge as it is. In social constructivism, it's not a one way, it is dialectic. It is a dialogic, it is a dyad. Teacher and the students exchange ideas, exchange opinion, so that they come out with the solutions, with the new idea. Now, what is the responsibility of the learner? To find meaning with the dialogue between the teacher, and therefore the student must always study. The student must always be very proactive. The student must also read. That is actually the point. No? So there will be a period of discourse in the classroom so that you and the teacher will understand one another. The leading educationist and psychologist in social constructivism is Lev Vygotsky, Russian, no? Lev Vygotsky, no? He's the proponent of social learning, no? In social learning, he mentions several zones, like in the case of zone of proximal development, right? So basically, that's social constructivism. We learn with the teachers. Okay? So I'm actually projecting to you some sample questions. Very easy, that you may find in your quiz or in your examinations or whatsoever, no? You may copy it, maybe you take a picture on it, maybe it comes out in the exams. We don't know. Okay? Any questions so far?
Collaborative and cooperative.
Yes, collaborative and cooperative learning, yes. It's actually in social learning theory.
يعني
Yeah,
collaborative is not a stronger what is that definition more than cooperative, or there is some differences?
cooperative,
Now when we can use it?
it's the same. Cooperate, co-labor, work together, operate together. Cooperative is collaborative, collaborative is cooperative. You know what I mean? In the context of social learning, yeah? So you work together,
Okay.
operate together. So you look on the keyword co-labor. Co means together. Labor work. Cooperative. Co work together. Operate. Make something that's function. Cooperative therefore is collaborative and collaborative is cooperative. This will work together under the social
Yeah.
learning theory. Now, okay? Like for
Okay,
instance,
thank
yes.
you.
Like for instance, it's mentioned here, no? If you're
Yeah.
going to apply social constructivism in the classroom, these are the things that you will actually do. Journaling. So you keep your journal, you keep your experiences every day. So you're going to connect
Yeah.
your emotions, jot it down, and share your experiences with the group. If you're going to look at the table, it's a round circle discussion, round table discussion. You see? The opinion
Yeah. Yeah.
of everyone is important. No single person in the group holds the right opinion. Everybody, all the opinions must always be considered. You get the point.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I'll just finish this before I'm going to dismiss you. No, experiential activities also will be the key. Now we go to the hospital, you do your related learning experiences. Sometimes in sharing is a personal focus. And as I mentioned, as we discussed earlier, collaborative and cooperative learning means to say we are actually engaged in a group. An individual must always be immersed in the group, right? And a
Yeah.
adult must always be a part of the group. In that case, learning is done in the classroom by the group. You see? You get
Yeah.
the point.
Yes, I got. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, thank you so much for listening today. In order to record your attendance, I will request you to write present or your ID number in the message board because it will be saved, since this is actually recorded session. Okay?
Doctor, doctor,
Yes.
excuse me,
Yes. Yes.
regarding to
Yes.
the
Excuse me,
assignment.
Doctor. Excuse me.
Assignment.
Doctor, what?
Assignment. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
the assignment.
Doctor, first, what is the answer for that question? It is social learning approach.
You find out. You read. Yeah. Okay, so let's say now, if someone achieves fame and fortune for a new style of singing, other people will copy. You see, copy. What do you think? Copying that style, even though they have never been reinforced for itself. Which of the following attempts to count for this observation? What do you think? See, copying. The keyword, this is the thing that I would like you to hear. No, you are going when you are answering questions like this, not only in my exams but in others. I'll teach you later on how to prepare examinations. You're going to look on the keyword. What's the keyword? Copy. And when you say copy, it's like imitation. When you say imitation, which among the choices you would actually have?
Behavior?
No, when you copy.
Behaviorism, social learning approach.
Yes, very good. You see, social learning, isn't it? Imitation, modeling, right? So that's the thing, no? Anyway, as your assignment, you have to read the article, no? And then the instructions are there, very clear. It's very simple. Next semester, the next assignment will be simpler, no? You have to write something about the teacher that you could have remembered in the past, no? That will be in the second semester. But for now, I really would like you to read somewhat, no? I give you a very clear instructions on what to do, including a sample. That's the reason why your assignment, I think, is around 14 or 18 pages, because the article is also there, no? So all you have to do is to supply the basic questions that's actually asked from you. You can get it. It's easy. Yeah?
Doctor,
Yes, my dear.
Alia.
Alia, yeah.
Doctor, in September 15, you sent for an assignment for RMBSN 2. And
Yeah.
there is burnout syndrome among dental students. Show a short version of the burnout clinical subtle questionnaire to be
No, no, no,
adapted
no.
to students. It is
It's
not
dif- it's different. I will look at it. I believe it's about RNBSN.
give me. There is also another one in September 17. So under the quiz, so when I open, there is like learning to promote active learning. So
Yes, that's what.
redesign of the online RN to BSN evidence-based practice nursing career or cancer. I don't know what I wrote. Care.
That
This,
one.
this is the
RNBSN
second
online.
one.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, that one. Of course, then you are
So,
not dental,
so
you are
article,
RNBSN.
because the one you sent for us, the first one was the burnout syndrome among dental.
No,
So we were talking in this one first.
it was not updated actually. So most probably you have been accessing the online, but it was not updated, no? So when it was updated, it's different already, isn't it? You got
But,
it on the 17th,
but
yeah?
both
Okay.
of them, Doctor, both of them is written that we can submit it in December 10,
December 10th.
2020.
No,
Yeah,
no,
both.
no, the RNBS and online and so on. So you read the article because it is very relevant, right? Because what we are doing right now is online learning, isn't it?
Because Doctor, I made a mistake. When
Yeah.
I saw the first one, I show it to other students. This our article. I think almost of us we are working in the first one. Now when I see the second one, we are thinking now I need to correct it.
Yeah, you have to, because the first one is not relevant to you. The second one is, yes, relevant to you. No,
So
no,
but
it happened because I think when I sent
but
it, I
what
was
if
just updating. I was just uploading that. So most probably it was kept in your browser.
but Doctor, if you
Yeah,
work in the first one, we cannot keep.
no, because it's
It's
dental,
really
no.
hard. You know the articles why I need.
No, RNBSN. That's the basic purpose, no? RNBSN. The thing that I assign you is, better because it's relevant to you. You have to read something about RNBSN. Yeah, you get it? All right. Anyway, if you have some questions, you may call me anytime. But for your attendance, write present in the message board. Okay. Thank you.